Very much. Katie Symons.
Just in time.
Kia ora, good morning.
Morning. Hi, I'm back again. I was here last year to talk about cycling, and I'm here to talk about that again. Last year I talked about how your investment in cycling in Christchurch was a factor in my decision to move here from the UK. And I wanted to say thank you then for your investment, and I want to say thank you again. The cycling facilities and infrastructure in Christchurch is one of the many reasons I feel really proud to live here. But today I thought I'd tell you a few more anecdotes, not just about me, on how your policies, I think, are changing habits. So just this week I was speaking to a friend of ours who lives locally, a mum. Her 7-year-old daughter just had a new bike, and that prompted her to realise that she didn't have a bike, so she got a bike. And she said, I used that unicycle route into town. It's amazing. It only took 10 minutes. She was really, delighted with it. And I just think that's a sign that what you're doing is really working. That we're so lucky to live there. It's really a lovely, safe, pleasant route. And I hope and I'm sure she will use it more regularly like I do. Because it does seem like the norm, unfortunately, is still to drive in Christchurch. And another norm I've observed is, as a family household, is to have 2 cars. There's 5 in our household. I've got 3 children. Sometimes we have more visitors than our 7-seater car can carry. But when I was talking to people saying, what should I do? They're sort of saying, well, what's wrong with your other car? Well, I don't have another car. And I'd just like for a moment for us all to imagine what Christchurch would be like if having 1 car per family was the norm. I know some of you are doing stuff. So, or even like no car was the norm, right? So I really believe that we and you can do it. You've got the power to remove some of the barriers that prevent people cycling. And, I see them as, the weather, getting wet is one. You can't really do much about that. But I mean, others, the effort of cycling. Some people don't want to do all that exercise, get hot and sweaty, but your geography's pretty good here. It's pan flat, and e-bikes really, really changing that environment, and I really hope you're embracing that. They're sort of breaking that barrier for you, but of course what you can do as a council is make it safe to cycle, and I know from talking to families with young children that is still a major barrier. As I said, I'm really lucky to live where I live on the unicycle, get to Hagley. It's my commute into work. It means that we can safely go as a family into the city. But you could do more. There are other places that I would like to take my children to get across town that I can't really cross Blenheim Road safely at the moment. And I'd love to take them to the Port Hills more often on their bikes. So please just keep investing, increase your investment in good quality cycling infrastructure. Lanes, markings, major cycle routes, cycle parking. Let's reduce the dominance of the car. So on cycle parking, your requirements for new building. I've just started a new job, and in our office, it's quite a new building, and the cycle parking provision meets the requirements of your district plan, but is way lower than we need, and it's lagging behind expectations of staff at my company. When it was built, when it was being designed, they asked for so many cycle parking places. They got half as many as they asked for, but it still meets your provision, and as a result we're woefully inadequate in terms of provision for cycle parking. So I'd really encourage you to look at that number, which I believe is 1 space per 150 metres squared of area for an office. So you could, another thing to do is increase spending on any kind of education schemes, because children really want to get out on their bikes, and as I said, when the child wants to get out on the bikes, they get their parents on their bikes, so that's a really easy way in, so please try hard on that as well. So in conclusion, I really believe that Christchurch has the potential to become a city like in Holland and in Denmark, where they are cycling cities. Cycling is the norm, and that's not an accident. Like, they planned it. It was conscious decision in the 1970s through their policies. So here in Christchurch we can set an example to New Zealand and the world, show that it doesn't have to be just a Northern European phenomenon. You can do it here. It's already working. Your major cycle routes are working. Please keep going, keep building, and we'll keep coming. Thanks. Any questions?
Thank you. Great timing for your submission.
All right.
There's obviously a lot of interest in this. Any questions? Yes, Jimmy.
Thank you. Thank you, for your presentation. Very good. Because based on your the information, enrollment is a 7%. The cyclists, right? What is your view after those 13 cycle route has been completed? Do you think how much percentage, will be increased from currently 7% as a cyclist?
Well, I think it's generally accepted that you get your more bang for your buck in terms of transporting people
Yes.
by spending on cycling infrastructure, right? So, I would say there's more than just major cycle routes. I mean, those cycle routes, the MCRs are great if you live on them, but wouldn't it be great if instead of having to search out for a cycle route,
Yes.
like drivers had to search out for a route that they could drive on, and instead cycling, you could cycle safely on any street. I don't know how you're going to implement that. I would say there's some pretty easy things like speed limits and putting cycle lanes on everyday roads, but that's what I would focus on, as well as cycle parking provisions.
Okay. Thank you.
Look, thank you very much for your submission. It's much appreciated.